go through a kind of trial and tribulation, you know. I mean, this idea that you go abroad and you come back and just get into a nice cushy job and things like that. There's a lot of these young scholars have this attitude. When I came back after 10 years of studying abroad, there was nothing for people, you know. I didn't go to nursing school to work in the U.S. I actually wanted to go back to Mauritania and to help people because I was so distraught by the lack of medical services that I saw there. And I was thinking about going to medical school, and a close friend of mine at the time, a physician, convinced me not to. And I actually spent 2 years studying with him. I made rounds every day with him and in the hospital. He was a brilliant physician. And that was my idea, to go back to Mauritania. Allah had other plans for me. I ended up staying in America. But I worked, you know, as a critical care nurse for several years. You know, I've taught, I've always worked. I haven't, you know, this idea that you just come in and it's all laid out for you and things like that. I mean, I struggled a lot. I had student loans that I had to pay off. I didn't take any usurious ones, but I did borrow money when I was studying. So, you know, I think people, this expectation that it all has to be laid out for them, I think is a dangerous one, because entitlement is a really negative thing in Islam. And there's a lot of young people that just have this entitlement. Like, I see it in some of the students, you know, this idea that everything is just supposed to be done for them. You know, people wanting, like, students wanting, like, you know, get us this and get us that. And it's amazing to me. Like, I lived in a hut. I mean, when I studied, I didn't have any money. I went overseas with real trust because I did not have anything. And I went, and alhamdulillah, Allah took care of me along the way, but I really had a lot of trials and tribulations. I got amoebic dysentery, I got hepatitis A, you know, I mean, I had a lot of struggle, really. I almost died a few times. I got heat stroke in the Sahara. It was one of the worst things I've ever experienced in my life. I spent 2 weeks in a hellhole of a jail in Mali. You know, so people, you know, they see you and, oh, you know, they don't know, you know, the struggles. And that's true of, you know, I've seen that. Sabr al-ulama. I mean, Abdul Fattah Abu Ghudda wrote a book about that, about the trials of scholars. You know, and poverty is one of the trials of this life. You know, it's a struggle. And it's good to go through it because you know how poor people feel. You know, if everything's taken care of you. But knowledge is also something that if you get enough of it, people will honor you very often. And even sometimes, you know, you get gifts, you get things. People, you know, that does happen, but usually after a long period of time, you know. So those are things to think about. But it's good to give people jobs. But a lot of these guys, they don't want to be imams. You know, when I came back, I served voluntarily as imam. I never got an honorarium. I never remember getting an honorarium. The first honorarium I got was from a Christian church that I went and spoke to, and I was shocked. Like, he gave me an honorarium. I was like, what's this? He said, you know, it's just an honorarium. You know, I was like, it was the first time. Muslims never gave me honorariums. All the times that I went around, I went all over England, you know. I gave many talks with just handfuls of people in masjids, you know, before big crowds and all these things, you know. So there's this idea, just, oh, you know, why don't I get that? Why aren't I? And then there's people that now they just want to study for that. Like, when I went to study, I never had the idea of teaching even, like to become a teacher. That wasn't in my mind. I was studying for myself because I wanted to learn the religion. And I was very confused initially because everybody was telling me different things. And it's like, I wanted to learn the religion for myself so I didn't have to rely on all these misinformation out there. Because there's so many different things. So I think it's important for people, these students of knowledge, to really just think about what their niyyah is, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you tribulations.